Welcome back to Garza Gaming Channel. Today we're going to talk about episode 3, Diminishing Returns, and all the various different type of CC in our 3-episode series for the updates for 9.7, man. Especially for arena players, dude, understanding the CC system is very, very important, and it's totally getting reworked for 9.7. And I know in the stream we started listening to them, and then they just started turning like Charlie Brown's teacher, like wow 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 wow, man. It sounded like you needed a PhD to really understand it because it sounded so complex, right? But I tell you what, I did a deep dive into it, and it's not as complex as I initially thought. And I'm going to try to explain it to you how it works, what it is, and how it works as easy as possible. So hey, man, without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so here we go with the final episode in our 3-episode series for the 9.7 update, right? In today's episode, we're going to cover diminishing returns and the various different categories of crowd control, or CC, right? So what is diminishing returns, right? Diminishing returns is an actual buff that you get that helps protect you against crowd control, right? It's an actual crowd control reduction buff. Now, prior to 9.7, you didn't even know if you had this buff active at any given time because there was no visual indicator that you were under the influence of any type of stack for diminishing returns, right? And prior to 9.7, you were able to stack 2 stacks of diminishing return, and each stack was worth 40% CCR, or crowd control reduction, right? For a total of 80% CCR. Now, after 9.7 goes live, they totally changed the whole system. So now instead of getting 2 stacks of diminishing returns, you're now going to be receiving 4 stacks, a total of 4 stacks of diminishing returns, which lasts 15 seconds, right? Now, each stack is now only worth 20% CCR, not 40% like before, right? So all they did is they split the the 240s and into 2 little separate stacks and give you a total of 4 stacks now. So for each time you get a hard CC or that cause you to stack a diminishing return stack, each stack is 20% CCR, right? Now, the way this works is, say that you get a hard CC hit on you, right? And you get that 1 stack of diminishing returns. So you get this little buff that now you have 20% CCR added to your kit, right? Or to your abilities. So now a second enemy hit you with another hard CC. Well, now you have that 20% CCR. So whatever they hit you with, it's only going to be 80% effective, right? Because of the fact that you have that 20% CCR. Now, since they hit you with a second crowd control ability, even if your timer for the first buff or the first stack was down to like 2 seconds left, because they hit you with that second CC, it revitalizes that timer. It resets the timer to 15 seconds again. And then on top of that 15 seconds, now you have 2 stacks of diminishing returns, right? For a total of 40% CCR. And then it's just rinse and repeat, right? Then you get hit a third time with an enemy, right? They reset your clock to 15 seconds and they add you another 20% stack. And of course, when you got hit with that third stack, that third ability, right? That ability was nerfed by 40%. So here comes a fourth guy, right? And they hit you again with CC. Well, you already have 3 stacks, 20% CCR each. So that fourth hit is going to be nerfed by 60%. So it's only going to be 40% effective. It's going to reset your timer. It's going to give you a 4th stack all the way up to 80% CCR, right? So then when you get hit, a 5th time, well, that 5th CC is going to be pretty much non-existent because it's only going to be 20% effective. So yeah, that's how it's going to work, right? So now after you get hit with that 5th time, the way I understand it is everything falls off and then you start all over again. So we'll see how this works out. But that's pretty much the layman, easy to understand. All diminishing returns is a buff that you get that can be stacked up to 4 times, and each stack is worth 20% CCR. Is that simple, right? Now, prior to 9.7, there was, some misunderstanding of what constituted a hard CC, right? Because you would think that obvious stuff like a stun or a root would be a hard CC, or being banished or being polymorphed, right? But unfortunately, the system, because of the way the programming was, it didn't see banishes, knockups, pullbacks, pulls, stuff like that as hard CCs. It didn't even acknowledge them at all. So you did not benefit from diminishing returns from being hit by those type of attacks. That's why it was such a nightmare to be pulled in, for in an alt, and then having everybody alt on top of your polymorph you, and that's why it lasted so long, because a lot of those CC mechanics that are being thrown on top of you were not being reduced by diminishing returns. They were not being affected at all. So they fixed that. So after 9.7 now, they actually added a new category that helps to recalculate, their little system in the back end. So the hard CCs will stay as it is, So stun will be a hard CC, and they added roots now as hard CCs. Now remember, hard CCs only apply one stack of diminishing returns. So if you get stunned or rooted, that's going to add one stack of diminishing returns for each of those, right? So then they added a subcategory called true hard CC, right? And true hard CC is the category that they added as a sub category to hard CC, because it has a different programming that allow them to add all the stuff that was being left out with the original CC system. So now hard CCs include banishes, grabs, knockbacks, knockups, polymorph, and pulls, right? So Ymir yeets, Sobek, yeets. Anytime you get pulled in by Ares, or you get pulled in by Sylvanas, anything like that is now considered a hard CC and will apply 2 stacks instantly of diminishing returns. Okay, and that's pretty much it, man. That's how easy it is to explain this. But I tell you, when they talked about this in the stream, dude, it sounded so complex. I was like, holy crap, dude, you need like a PhD to understand this. But no, it's that simple, man. Now there's 2 ways, again, diminishing returns. Either you're going to get hit with a hard CC, which is going to be a stun or a root, or you're going to get hit with a true hard CC, which is going to be everything that's not a stun or a root. So that's going to include pulls, yeets, knockups, you know what I'm saying? Banishes and grabs and polymorphs. Now, there is a third type of CC that's not affected at all by diminishing returns and does not give you any stacks of diminishing returns, right? And that category is called soft CC, right? So what a soft CC is something like being intoxicated. The Danzaburo, when his little bags blow up and you're like stumbling, you can still attack, you can still walk, you're just, bobbling everywhere, or maybe using that one trinket that makes you tremble, right? So you can still move and stuff. It's just that your camera's going like this the whole time. Those are called soft CCs, right? Anything that slows you down, like that trinket that slows you down but doesn't cause you to stop. You just move 30% slower, right? Those are soft CCs. So those type of CCs are not going to be affected by your diminishing return buffs. It's not going to reset your clock for diminishing return buffs, and it's not going to apply any stacks of diminishing returns. The only 2 things that can apply diminishing returns are hard CCs and true hard CCs. So man, I hope that this pretty much explains everything, right? Now I know there's some people out there saying, but what about the gods like Ares, right? Where he is going to do a pull, right? So the pull, they said, is going to be a true hard CC. So that instantly should be 2 stacks. And then it goes into a stun, which is a hard CC. And that's an additional. So that's 3 stacks right there, right? But the thing about it is, since you did the pull first, that gives you 2 stacks. So when you do the stun, is that going to be 40% less effective? And the answer is, prior to 9.7, yeah, probably, but now, no. They actually fixed that, right? So on the back end, they actually worked that out. So gods like Anhur, Ares, Awilix, Daji, and Gilgamesh, how they have a 2-stage CC type of attack. They fixed it on the back end where now, say Ares pulls you with the chains and does the stun, right? As soon as he pulls you with the chains, that's not going to give you any diminishing returns. Your diminishing return stacks will not start until after the stun, right? After you get stunned, now you're going to have 3 stacks of diminishing returns if the calculations are correct, right? You're going to get 2 for the true hard CC, which was the pull, and then you're going to get 1 for the actual stun. So yeah, so that's the way it's going to work going forward. So yeah, it does sound a little bit complex, but in reality, when you think of it, it's not too hard to understand, right? Once you break it down and get in the nitty gritty of it. Now, there are some bugs right now, right? The polymorphs are not applying 2 stacks of diminishing returns, and Hi-Rez knows it. They're actually working on the fix, and it should be fixed in the next update. The 2 on gods that they know for a fact are being affected is Harris polymorph and Kurnos polymorph, his ult, right? When he turns into a little piggy. So that's only giving you 1 second diminishing returns at this time, but in a near future, it is going to be working as it should and giving you 2 stacks of diminishing returns. So you'll have 40% CCR protection once you come out and actually live through that polymorph or alt, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it on diminishing returns and crowd control. So I hope that I helped to clear things up for you, and I hope I didn't confuse you more than you probably were coming in. And if you have any questions, put it down in the comments, man. I'll do my best to answer the best I can. But yeah, man, it's a new system. I'm very anxious to check it out because, as you know, man, CC is the worst in Arena than any other mode because of the fact that you're constantly going 5 against 5. It's constant action for anywhere between 18 to 20 minutes, right? And the likelihood of going against a team that has a stack of 5 CC gods on it is very likely. You're very likely to encounter that, right? And we have many times in Arena. The chain CC in Arena is a freaking nightmare. So having some type of a ability like this, or some type of way to get buff, so you don't sit there for 4 seconds as they just sit there chain CCing you until you die, and you can't even move because you're just like frozen still. You know what I'm saying? Having something that help alleviate that frustration is freaking gold in my book, right? But we'll see how it works out. Again, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, man. We're still trying to get to that 10,000 sub mark by the end of this year. And hey, we're halfway there almost. So hey, any help that you can give us, we really appreciate it. And don't forget, we put out videos every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we stream live every Tuesday at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time in the morning here on YouTube, right? So hey, come check us out, man. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'm Dark Garza, your OG on the GC. See you next time.